Welp, it's the day after Nebraska's massive win versus the Wisconsin Badgers to clinch bowl eligibility. And over the last couple hours, I've rewatched the game, looked over the stats, and I've come up with 5 massive nuggets that we learned in yesterday's big win. So really quick, we have a lot to talk about. Make sure to hit that like button. If you're fired up about Nebraska making a bowl game, I know I am. And hey, we are 30 subscribers away from 7,000. I post Husker football content every single day, and we have the best family here on Husker YouTube. So if you're a diehard Nebraska fan, please subscribe. You'll be thanking yourself that you did. But without further ado, let's get into it. We have a huge video on our hands talking about Nebraska's victory yesterday, destroying the Wisconsin Badgers and clinching bowl eligibility for the first time in 8 years. Well, first things first, my first nugget of yesterday's matchup should not be a shocker to any of you. Dana Holgorsen, unbelievable game plan and unbelievable performance as Nebraska's offensive coordinator. It can't be overstated how well he coached last night for the Big Red. You know, a lot of people said over the last couple weeks that the offense had a talent issue, that Dylan wasn't good enough, these wide receivers weren't good enough. And I told you guys, no, it is not a talent issue. All these players are good. It's purely a Marcus Satterfield coaching issue. And when we switch our offensive coordinator, it's going to be a complete 180. And look what happened. Dana Holgorsen had a phenomenal game plan yesterday. We put up 44 points against one of the best defenses in the country. And I know Wisconsin's 5-6, but they have one of the best defenses in America. The number one Oregon Ducks played them the week before and only put up 16. Nebraska put up 44. That means something. Hey, Dana Holgorsen had a great game plan. The running game clicked for the first time in a long time. Emmett Johnson had 100 rushing yards. Dante Dowdell was great. The passing game was working. And the play calling was overall really, really smooth by Dana Holgorsen. The thing that impressed me the most was the red zone play calling. I told you guys that's what I expected to improve under Dana Holgorsen more than anything, because Marcus Satterfield, he couldn't score in the red zone. Dana Holgorsen, 7 for 7 in the red zone. Nebraska scored every single time, whether that was a field goal or a touchdown. That was huge. And the big thing was Dylan Raiola, for the first time in a long time, he looked confident out there. He looked like he was having fun out there, and because of that, the offensive general thrived. So it was overall a masterclass by Dana Holgorsen. I don't know what it takes to keep him next year, but all I know is that you got to give him a blank check. Whatever he wants, give it to him. Dana Holgorsen needs to be wearing the scarlet and the cream next year on the sideline. He was great. So that's my first nugget. Let's get to the second one. Shout out to the Nebraska seniors. Now, over the last couple weeks, I've talked about putting young players in the game, giving new players opportunities, because we know these seniors, and we've seen them a lot, okay? And we know that they don't win football games. But I gave these seniors a challenge. I said, guys, you still have an opportunity to change the narrative. How do you want your legacy to be defined? Do you just want to be some, normal seniors who really just didn't change Nebraska? Or do you want to be remembered forever as legends who went to a bowl game for the first time in 8 years and turned around Nebraska's program? These seniors chose the latter. These guys will go down as legends. Yes, they're not competing for a national championship, but they sparked change, and that's just as important. So shout out to Ty Robinson, who was phenomenal yesterday, by the way. Nash Hutmucker, Alex Bullock, John Bullock, Ben Scott, Bryce Benhart, Jamal Banks, Nate Borkacher had a great game yesterday. Isaiah Nair, Deshaun Singleton with the pick. Even Isaac Gifford, who struggled all year, I tip my cap to him and all the seniors, because they stood up when it mattered the most. They said, we're not going to go out sad like the other seniors, and they proved that they are different, and they will be celebrating in a bowl game for Nebraska. This is the first of many. Shout out to this senior group. Third nugget from yesterday's game, although the seniors played well, we had a bunch of young players break out for the Huskers. Let's talk about the first one. MVP of yesterday's game, no question about it. Emmett Johnson was unbelievable. 200 all-purpose yards, 100 rushing, 100 receiving. Very slippery, had a couple of quick juke moves, spin moves. This guy would not go down yesterday. He was good in the pass pro as well. I'm telling you, Emmett Johnson should have been running back one all year. I was telling y'all in April that I thought Emmett Johnson should be the guy. Unfortunately, it didn't really go his way. We saw a lot of Dante Dowdle early on in the year, Ramir Johnson, and those guys are fine running backs, but Emmett Johnson really had the best game of his career yesterday. He was incredible. Speaking of Dante Dowdle, he needs to get his respect too, because although he didn't have the stat line that Emmett Johnson did, we forget that Dante Dowdle had 3 touchdowns on the day yesterday and still was incredibly efficient. But I also want to give a shout out to this offensive line. Okay, the running game worked, not only because these running backs were very successful, but the offensive line provided super big holes for these running backs to go through. So the offensive line was elite. Ja'Cory Barney had a great day yesterday. I'm telling you guys, Ja'Cory Barney, I mean, he is one of the best true freshman wide receivers Nebraska's ever had, period. He's in that discussion at this point. He's a special talent, and Nebraska needs to keep him. Vincent Shavers played the most reps he has all year, was really good. Willis McGahee got a huge TFL early on in this game. And Nate Borkacher, Thomas Fidone got benched in the first quarter. Nate Borkacher came in and had the best game of his career too. Everybody stood up when it mattered the most, and I am so glad they did. And last but not least, I got to give a shout out to my man John Hall. He has not missed a field goal since early on in the year. He has been lights out. It wasn't even his problem. He was missing field goals early on in his career. That wasn't because of his fault. It was because of the long snapping issue. They fixed the long snapping, and John Hall has been perfect. Fourth nugget from rewatching this game. Yes, we put up 44 points, but we weren't perfect. We weren't perfect at all. There's still a lot of things to clean up if we want to beat Iowa, if we want to beat whoever we're going to play in the bowl game. And the thing that really struck me yesterday, and I wasn't satisfied with, is the secondary. The secondary really struggled in yesterday's performance, and that was one of my predictions throughout the week. I said, I don't know how this game is going to go, but I really don't have any faith in Nebraska's secondary. I think they're going to make Braden Locke look pretty darn good, and that's exactly what they did. Braden Locke looked like Tom Brady out there. He went 20 for 30 from the day, 300 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Their receiver, Vinny Anthony, had 140 yards. That's really the one thing that I want this defense to focus on going into Iowa, going into the bowl game. How can we possibly improve the secondary? I know they've already had some personnel changes. Malcolm Hartzog got benched yesterday for Bly Hill. Gifford, of course, struggled yesterday. But it needs to be a point of emphasis for the rest of the season, and especially in the offseason. Like, we're talking about the offseason, man, oh man, we're going to have to get a couple transfers there in that secondary. But you know what? We're not even going to focus too much on the negative because there's so much to be happy about. But I just wanted to mention the secondary because I didn't think they played too well, but we won. We put up 44 points. Who cares? And shout out to Sear Wright because he played a really good game yesterday as well. Fifth nugget. Shout out to the fan base. Oh my goodness. I was at that game yesterday. They were so incredibly loud. You guys heard the Go Big Red chants on the TV broadcast. We deserve this. The fan base deserves this. 8 years of suffering comes to an end. Enjoy it. You don't need to be humble. You have to celebrate this because it is different. It feels different because it is different. We haven't had this feeling in 8 years. Celebrate. But I'm going to ask you one question. Are you satisfied? Or do you want more? Because we have a big game on our hands on Black Friday against Iowa. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying being bowl eligible, but I'm not satisfied. I want to beat those darn Hawkeyes in Iowa City and take the Heroes Trophy. We got to walk in and take over. One last thing, sixth and final storyline. I'll throw an extra one in there. This bowl game is just so big for multiple reasons. Obviously, playing an extra game, we all are excited about that. Playing perhaps an SEC opponent, that's the big storyline. But there's a couple reasons why a bowl game is so big for Nebraska and the program going forward. Number one, recruiting is going to be strongly benefited from playing in a bowl game. You can show that, hey, you're improving this program. Nebraska's still in play to get 8 wins this year if you can win out. So that's huge. Recruiting will take a big jump in recruiting, especially for the class of 2026. And you also get 1 extra month of practice. That's going to develop a lot of these young players even further. If Nebraska didn't make a bowl game, they would stop practice right after the Iowa game. We get 1 extra month of practice because of this bowl. So that is huge for the Huskers. Yesterday's win was unbelievable. Everybody should still be celebrating, should still be feeling good. It's one thing to clinch bowl eligibility. It's another thing to clinch bowl eligibility against a perpetual rival in Wisconsin, a team we have not beat in 12 years, to dominate them, to take their trophy, And we're not playing them again for about 3 years, so we have that trophy for the foreseeable future, and to really rub it in their face, and they might miss bowl eligibility. So that was extra special to beat a team that we haven't beaten in a long time and clinch bowl eligibility. We broke multiple curses yesterday. I'm fired up. I hope you guys are too. I'm super happy for this team, happy for this program, and most of all, I'm happy for you guys, the fans. I'm thankful for all of you guys sticking with me. You guys are the best fans in all of college football, and thank you for supporting me. And I'm not slowing down anytime soon, but I'm grateful for you guys, so I want you to enjoy it because I know I am. All right, guys, let me know down below your thoughts about yesterday's big win versus the Badgers. Let me know in the comment section. Hey, if you made it this far in the video, shout out to you. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Again, we are 30 subscribers away from 7,000. And as always, folks, go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and see you in the next one.